right when we're done. Give us 1 minute. 1 minute. Hey, everybody. It's Chuck, Greg, and Jeff. We're back again this week. And Jeff is looking very relaxed. And congratulations on your daughter's birthday. Very cool.
Thank you.
Jeff is the proud father of 2 sets of twins, which I just find so curious.
Yeah, actually, it was my wife's birthday on March 24th, and my boys were born on her birthday. So
that is very cool.
Celebrated 3 birthdays on March 24th.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And Greg just got in from bike ride, so he's pumped. He's ready. So I actually just am finalizing our newest piece of litigation for our EB5 litigation. These are approximately 20 or so folks, all but one from China, who have basically just been ignored for 2 years. And all of them have been waiting for 6 years. All you were like, I've been waiting 6 months. 6 years they've been waiting to get this visa. So we're going to be filing that either tonight or tomorrow, and then following that up with our preliminary injunction in Washington, D.C. We'll see. We're going to talk about who we want to relate this case to and see who gets our case there. But that's on the way. Greg, I know you're working on a couple things. Do you want to share that with us?
Yeah, we're onboarding several cases right now, and some of them are officially done with onboarding. Although we're still taking a couple plaintiffs here and there if they move fast enough. One is the travel ban case. We are suing to end the travel bans in the 35 countries that they exist in right now. That's a declaratory action case. We're not. It's not a mandamus, but once we clear that out of the way, that's going to be really helpful for a lot of people to be able to hopefully get their visas in a reasonable time frame. We are also working on some individual country-specific cases, 2 in Egypt right now, 1 for K1s and 1 for spouses, 1 in the Philippines and 1 in Brazil. And then the one that's kind of like the really large case is the diversity visa, the DV 2021s, who are, that's multiple times more plaintiffs in that case than the other ones. So that's keeping the crew at Siskind pretty busy right now, trying to onboard these folks. And we know that Jeff's firm and your firm are already working on these same cases on the next steps on them. But it's a huge logistics operation.
Just getting the paragraph about each plaintiff and their family.
It's I don't think people sort of appreciate just how many aspects there are to these cases from beginning to end, how many moving pieces there are. So that's why it really does take 3 firms.
So just in the EB5 case, which is a mandamus, that's the difference between this and the regional ban case. The complaint is 50 pages. And then we have to do the preliminary injunction, which will be about another 35 pages. We don't want to. Apparently, there's no page limit on complaints, but you get a page limit on argument. So we're going to get that in. Jennifer just joined us. Jennifer's prepared to sit there and listen to us talk for the next 40 plus minutes. Jennifer, welcome. It's great to have you with us today. So we've got that. And then we have other cases that are in interesting situations, Jeff. Jeff, you want to talk a little bit about Milligan and where we are on that?
Yeah. So the good news on Milligan is that we're probably, I don't know how many emails a day would you say we're getting, Greg, from people that have had interviews or visas issued?
It's moving at a pretty nice pace, I think, especially, I mean, we have still some problems with some consulates. So it seems like we haven't really made a lot of progress with Montreal and Manila, for example, but a lot of them are moving. I don't know. I have to talk to Luke. Actually, you would probably know what percentage of our round 2 folks are done, but it does seem like we're rapidly coming to the end of round 2 and focusing on round 3, which is the biggest group of all. In round 3, we're getting a lot of people with interviews. We know that, the ones that we know it's tough for people when they're seeing other people get interviewed and their consulate's not moving, or even people from their own consulate that are moving and they're not moving, that it's frustrating.
Well, let me say something about that for a minute, though, because I've had 2 individual consults today with people who were frustrated because other people's cases are moving at their consulates and they're not. And when we get in the weeds a little bit about their case, it's pretty clear why their case is delayed, right? One of them had a previous petition that they filed for somebody in the same country. Another one had the U.S. citizen petition for someone in the past. So when those kind of things, when you add those facts in, what we believe is that the consulate is looking into those. They're looking in to make sure that there was no marriage fraud in the previous case and in this case. And so in both of those cases, if you've petitioned for somebody in the past, you can expect that the consulate is going to spend a little bit more time looking through your file. Yeah. So even though it's frustrating to see those delays, my experience has been that there's sometimes a reason for that. And the best way to figure that out is have a consult with one of us, and we can ask you those critical questions to try and figure that out.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, we heard Chuck and I don't know if they were copying, I heard from somebody today who got a denial on a perfectly, on something that was very, that was probably pretty easy to predict that there was going to be problems on that particular issue. And it's a reminder that these cases are about getting you, to the point where your case is being adjudicated, but it doesn't solve the problems of a case that has issues. Yeah. And that was the case with this one that Chuck and I, were corresponding with today.
Yeah. So that's another practice pointer is, if you have the resources, it would be worth hiring one of us to do an appointment to prepare you for your interview. I mean, we can kind of talk to you about what's going to happen at the interview, what kind of questions are asked for, what would be in your file that may cause a delay. I've had clients that have gone to the consulate in Ciudad Juarez, and they went in for their medical exam and were denied based on tattoos on their bodies. So you never know what's going to cause chaos in your case at the consulate.
Or you admit to smoking marijuana.
Marijuana is a big problem. If you admit smoking it, you're barred. There's no waiver. So these are the kind of things that you probably should, if you don't have an attorney, you should be consulting with one of us before your interview.
Yeah, we've helped thousands of people go through their consular interviews. We kind of know what these guys are looking for. Jeff, take a look at the chat for a second that I just put in there. I will tell you what's going on in the Aker Gomez case. We are filing this evening our reply brief to our motion for summary judgment and our response, which is basically the government's lying. What they're saying is garbage, and please issue all the visas. That's basically what we're going to say. We remain fighting for all the visas. What helps us is DV 2021. State Department argued in DV 20. We couldn't issue all these visas because COVID. And yet in September, they issued 6,000 visas with COVID. And then they started right away. We found out the real reason of issuing the visas, which is the presidential proclamation. So the judge gave them the benefit of the doubt before, but they've exhibited why they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt and why the judge should order the issuance of all 35,000+ DV 2020 visas. So there is no hearing today. A lot of people thought there's a hearing today. No, it's just a pleading, brief deadline. The government then has 2 more weeks to submit the record to the judge. This is the record Judge Watson. I think that's on, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's April 12th. And then the judge said he would either make a decision or set argument. And so when people ask me all the time on DMs, and when is the hearing? I don't know. I literally have no idea. But I do not see any way that it's earlier than probably mid-May. I just don't see that. And frankly, if he reserved the visas, it doesn't matter. They'll just have to start issuing them. Issuing those visas. So that's kind of the update on that. Rafa and I and Curtis are working on our joint reply. The Gomez folks have their reply that they're doing. I think the stuff I've read so far is primo. I mean, it's really, really good. So I remain confident as part of this. Jeff, do you have a chance to look at my question?
My question?
Yeah, I put a question in chat for you.
Oh, sorry. I was looking. I thought you meant the general chat.
No, the chat.
The motion for a universal injunction. To be honest with you, I will be completely honest. I've just put it on the back burner just because we have 11 litigation cases now with paid plaintiffs. So I will get to that motion as quickly as I can, but right now the cases where we have plaintiffs that have paid have to take priority. As soon as we get those cases filed, I will turn my attention to.
And some of them may end up with the same judge.
Yeah.
And so they have PIs in them. There you go. So I wanted to get that out there because people have asked me about that. A lot of people have asked if we have enough plaintiffs in each of our litigations, and I would dare say we probably have enough. We don't have enough to get started on a couple of them.
Not Brazil. We're far from close to Brazil.
Okay, so Brazil, we need some more there. And I sent an email around to our group this morning about the Philippines, which, as everybody knows, on K1s is a nightmare. We know, and Brazil, and basically Manila just went into lockdown last night because their cases supposedly skyrocketed. They're still lower than the United States, by the way, as Greg has pointed out multiple times. But their president, as loony as he may be, takes it seriously. So I think the consulate's going to say, look, we can't physically get to the consulate. This, of course, goes to why we're suing them. They don't have to, physically go to the consulate, and they could assign your case to a different country. Travel to Kuala Lumpur, head up to Singapore, travel to Mexico. There are countries that are taking cases. So, I mean, that actually kind of helps us. And the same is true in Brazil. Brazil, there was one email I saw an exchange that we were copied on, basically what the consular officer said is basically, it's really dangerous for us too. I mean, I get it. And what we don't know, Greg, have you heard, or Jeff, did the consular guys get prioritized for their vaccines? Did they reach out to them and do those?
I have not heard anything on that. I mean, it's just, I think President Biden was going to say today that in the next 2 or 3 weeks, that vaccines are going to be opened up to all Americans, or almost all Americans on there. So presumably,
it really helped consular officials in Rio with the crappy Russian vaccine. I just can't believe they're not selling a big plane, a big refrigerated plane around the world, dropping these things off. Meet us at the airport, we'll stick you. I just don't understand why they're not doing
they probably do Johnson & Johnson then, but that's a different story. Jeff, I just sent you something in the private chat.
Okay, great. All right. So, and Manila too. So I think we may have enough, Jeff, for Brazil.
I'm sorry. I thought maybe I meant Manila.
It might be Manila.
Manila. Brazil. We're okay on Brazil. Manila.
Yes, we're getting that ready. We appreciate all your declarations on this. They are very helpful because we put that. The judge will read these. And I think that's very, very helpful to help him understand. It's not that we're asking him to force the embassies to open in the middle of COVID. We're asking them to accommodate the issuance of visas under their laws, which they can do. They can, as we learned in DV 2020. Oh, you need to go to Uzbekistan for your interview? Great. There it is. Tomorrow it'll be there. Except Brazil, because it takes 5 weeks to get a package from the United States from the National Visa Center. So there's that. Yeah, we only have about 30 plaintiffs in Manila. We're going to need some more to move forward there. But Jeff has been communicating regularly with government counsel in the Milligan case. I think he has reached out. There are, besides Manila and Brazil, there is one other problem consulate that boggles our mind. It's Montreal.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote in the questions. They just told me they're not issuing DV 2021. We're not going to issue them. They just, consulates can't do that. In Montreal.
Well, and they're just not that bright if they're thinking that putting that in writing in an email and not thinking that that's going to end up in the pleadings.
I mean, of course it's going to end up in the pleadings. Maybe they know it's going to end up in the pleadings, and that's why they sent it. I mean, these people are not dumb. Consular officers are very smart people. So I think that they get that done. In the Tate case, the 01 case, I think we're down to 3 people. 3 people that are waiting on interviews. One of them is in Portugal, which is basically put her off to the early part of April. And I think almost everybody else has an appointment. We're going to reach out to the Tate folks tomorrow and verify that. But that case will likely be dismissed shortly once everybody gets their visas. FYI, on the Aker case, just so that you know, we only have 4 plaintiffs left. And we're going to be moving to dismiss all the DV 2021 plaintiffs that we represented that are now in the United States with their visas. And it's just 4 families that are left. 2 of whom I think needed their visas reissued.
That was DV 2020, not 2020.
2020. And we are seeking right now, what we're going to be seeking is again, a class status for these people, because we know there's probably 700 or 800 people that need their visas reissued. A woman just came in today on her DV 2020, but her husband's medical on September 30th was expired. So they told him to come back. When he came back, they've denied him. So, I mean, it's just like, why did you do that? And they say you're now barred. But why shouldn't he get one of the 9,000 visas? Because he literally had the interview and the only thing missing was the medical. And that was from Iran, which is, as everybody knows, a very difficult consulate to get in. So let's see. What other cases have I missed here, Greg? Did I?
We have the business cases.
Yes. So we've got with ALA, we're litigating the Department of Labor wage rule, which is filed. And we're litigating, should be filed, I think we're filing this week, right, Jeff, on the lottery case.
Yeah, the H-1B lottery rule, the complaint is drafted. It's in final review, should be filed this week.
Okay. The last thing I want to mention was Anunciato. All right, Aaron is not here with us tonight. He's out today. So as all the DV 2021 people in Anunciato know, because you all got an email from us, you need to go on to the link and sign up for the new case for DV 2021 at no cost. This is all part of our effort to force them to get you the visa. Okay. So sign up for that. If you haven't done that already, there's no cost. There's still 1 week left, although today is the deadline for the cheaper rate. It goes up for people who aren't Anunciato plaintiffs. That then leaves us 28 plaintiffs in the Anunciato case in family-based and employment-based categories, and 3 of them this last week got their visas. And as we understand, there may be a couple more with appointments waiting. So that case has been extended out another month until April 24th or 21st for the government to file their motion to dismiss as we work with the government on getting our plaintiffs' visas. There's no guarantees in that, but I think we've got a solid case there for the folks that are in DV 2021 at this point with this judge. So there's nothing else going on there. Let's go to some questions here. I love this one. Has it started? When did you say that? You were 30 seconds late. 30 seconds late. Sorry about that. Has there been any response to the Government Council regarding Dublin's lack of round 3 Milligan cases?
Well, to be clear, we don't get a response from the government. They don't, like when we send them these status updates or complaints, it's not like Joe gets back to me and says, oh yeah, here's what's happening with that case. He just contacts the consulate. So I don't really know what happens after that.
We know that something happened when you guys tell us, when we get the update and says, oh, I got my interview.
Right. So that's really the only way that we know if something happens is because you tell us I got scheduled. And what we have found is that when we report on particular consulates, people tend to get scheduled. But
yeah, because Dublin's done all round 1 and round 2.
So it's basically, when you're emailing us and saying, what can you do about this? The answer is we really can't do anything besides what we're doing, which is communicating with the government that represents the Department of State. We rely on you all to fill out that spreadsheet and let us know if cases are or are not moving. And that's what we use to report back.
Right. That update is really the only way we sort of have the big picture of what's going on around the world is when you fill out that form. It's really important for us.
And if you send us emails, they probably, sometimes we will catch them, but to be honest with you, we get inundated with hundreds and hundreds of emails every day. So it's just not.
The update on the form is essential. You just update it online. Emma, her fiance got her interview for May, but we don't know where. I don't know what consulate that is. Emma, let us know what consulate that is. Cynthia wanted to know, Synthesia wanted us to know if it's too late for the DV 2020. No, it's not too early, too late. I know that some other lawyer said, well, you can't file in April for DV 2021. That's just not true. Especially since we already filed in November of last year to put them on notice. So it's absolutely not too early. Can you imagine? Okay, let's wait until, because we filed, the Aker case July 4th or July 3rd. Why are we going to wait 3 more months? Nothing's changing.
One thing I could tell people just to keep in mind is that we have already been told by the State Department that they are planning on making DV current by the July visa bulletin, which will be coming out in June. By the time the case gets filed and we go through the back and forth with the pleadings and we get in front of a judge, there's a good chance that it's going to be current for everybody. So it makes sense probably to file right around now.
Yeah, none at all. We filed in April for this reason, and the judge fully entertained it. It just the case had a problem in that it was on the ban, and that ban went away. But they're still denying under 212F grounds. So or not doing the cases at all. There are some of you, by the way, that have emailed me Hey, I'm in the United States on a visitor visa. I got here 90 days ago. Should I wait for my appointment at the embassy? Generally speaking, that's probably not wise. If there's still 6 months left in the fiscal year, what I would do is hire a really good local lawyer where you are who knows the immigration service folks to file an expedited adjustment of status after you've been here for 90 days.
And you could file actually a little bit earlier for adjustment of status.
I agree with that.
Rules. I was actually educated on that.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. I mean, the 90 days is for the embassies. CIS has never adopted that. They talk about it, but that 30, 60-day rule is ingrained in USCIS. Timeline on the Acquia versus USCIS litigation, Jeff.
Yeah, so this is not, Acquia is not an impact case. It's an ALA case, but our firm is co-counsel on it, and it was literally just filed 2 weeks ago. We've just entered our appearances on it. We've just submitted corporate disclosure statements. So, I would imagine that the government will start talking with us about settling that case. I don't think that this is a case that'll get litigated. I think it will settle. So I would say 60 days. We should have some sort of an idea of where that case is going.
All right. I put this question up because people have asked us about it. The motion to amend try to get it to be a universal injunction. Greg, Jeff just talked about that, about where we are on that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's finished. Jennifer drafted it. It's sitting on my desk. I need to review it. But like I said, I think our firm is filing 5 cases this week. So
we've got 2. So we're not you. Now, yeah. Martin Pigg got his interview in Dublin. Whoa, the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, and this is a good example of somebody who used the sheet effectively. They filled out the form. They indicated the reason that they needed an expedite. It was very specific, so I could go to Joe and I could say, this person has surgery. Can we expedite it? And sure enough, they got an interview. So
there you go. Dublin is working on those cases. Let's see. Daniel Milligan, quick. The London consulate is not an interview day for us. Everyone seems to have gotten theirs. Well, Daniel, not everyone has gotten theirs. Perhaps people that you know have gotten theirs, but I can assure you nobody. But London's been popping these. That's true. We got, I think, 3 today from London.
Yeah.
And, if they could pay attention to these cases, instead of wondering about who Boris Johnson is sleeping with this week, they'd probably get these done faster.
What? I didn't hear about that.
Boris Johnson there, just kind of sticking it in. That guy, I'm sorry. Dude, he makes Trump look like a chaste individual. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody asked about refugee sealing. I don't know where Biden. This is hilarious. Biden signs an order. We are going to increase these, and he doesn't. I don't understand it. Moscow consulate. Moscow is a dead end. We do have one of our EB5 folks is in Moscow, so we're going to be suing on that shortly, and we will update you on that. Judge Chen's decision on a class action for the Jacob case. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea what the Jacob case is about. Do you guys know what the Jacob case is about?
No. I don't.
That's a Morrison.
I know this. The first Jacob case was dismissed by the court, and then an amended complaint was filed in January. And I was looking at I can't look at the documents, unfortunately, but I was looking at the calendar, and they have hearings that set out in April. So, I mean, it just really has nothing to do with us at this point, because we're going to be seeking very rapid movement on a decision in this case. Anunciato, thank you very much. Ad fectum. I don't even want to know what that means. All right. Ad fectum. That doesn't sound good. Gorky. You have a park in Moscow named after you. Greg probably knows how to spell it in Russian. Hello from Mandamus. We're gonna fight these guys to the end. All right. Let me find Gorky. Went away here for a second, so I've got to find Gorky. There's Gorky. Okay, this is effective. We need you to email that email to us. We need that now. So forward it to Jeff. All right. We need to see that email.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that is good for a pleading, where we can actually have evidence from the consulate with their word saying that they're not scheduling.
Yeah, and you're right. Nothing. Don't send it to Greg or Charles. Send it to Jeff.
Right. Yeah. Well, to clarify, we're the ones that are drafting the DV case, so send that to us, right? So You don't need to copy all of us on the communication. You really only need to copy the firm that's leading up that particular piece of litigation. So we're doing the DV 2021, all of the K1s, and the Milligan case.
All right. Yes, Yasmin, we're aware. We've been copied on a lot of your emails. Some of them are justifiably angry emails. But I will just tell you just a little secret about consular officers. And this is something my mom taught me. It's easier to catch a bear with honey than whatever it is they don't like. Bees, whatever. Respectful. I mean, I know it's hard. Trust me. Greg and Jeff will tell you, it's hard for me. But honey.
And that's been anecdotally proven out in the Milligan case. I mean, the consular officers, where people were polite, took a vested interest in these cases. They actually were really interested in the fiance cases and were very helpful. But if you're nasty with them, that's going to be the reverse. So
Minu got her visa issued in Paris. Paris has been working, even though isn't they shut down? I know they had a massive surge like 10 days ago. Yu Ting has an interview tomorrow. Woohoo! Congrats. Will delays in Anunciato affect the DV mandamus litigation? No, none at all.
Two different cases.
We're dividing that case up, so it will not. Let's see. Some of these have been asked before, which I'll skip over. Oh, Amsterdam.
That's a problem consulate, but
it was good, and then it
movement there. Actually, I
know Jeff will follow up right away with Joe.
Let me see what we heard from Amsterdam. Hold on one sec here. Yeah, actually nothing from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So.
Grumarco, hello to Serbia. Hope you're doing well there. Great food in Serbia, by the way. Larissa, I don't know what this is a question about and who they are.
It's related to the marijuana question. So do they do blood for marijuana?
They just ask you. They'll tell you, if you've used marijuana in the last 6 months, we can test it in your blood. That is literally not true. That is a lie. It dissipates after like
3 days.
No, it's just a lie. So they can get you to know them. I better tell them. And also, don't use marijuana until you get to Colorado. All right. Jennifer's laughing. I mean, she's got this.
You can still get in trouble from using it in Colorado too.
Yeah, I'm like, don't use it until you're a U.S. citizen. That is a takeaway.
All right, Cyril, who has obviously a very technical Irish name, waiting for the Dublin and DV, asking for sending it over. Again, this is why you send an email to the consulate and copy the National Visa Center. You put them on the same email because they'll blame each other till the end of time until they're on the same email.
It's almost always the consulate, though, that's lying.
Yeah. But there's three steps you have to do. You need to email the consulate, email the NVC, and then update the spreadsheet.
The NVC does hold these cases until the consulate tells them that they have room to deal with them. So when the consulate says they're waiting on the NVC, that is not correct.
This is a good question. Why are there any published visa issuance? They have. February's up there.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. They don't publish it in the middle of the month. It's still March. But Kevin, it's up there, my post. So there you are. Diana from Egypt. Let's see. Guangzhou has issued K1s. I think.
Yeah, that's one of the better stories in this. Is how responsive China. They've been to the China plaintiffs. They've been getting pretty steadily visas and getting here.
Rakan, I mentioned we've got 3 families mooted out in Anunciato, and we're working on the rest. That's what we're going on. Liam got a visa. They only gave him for 3 months. Typically, this is related to the length of time that your medical exam is valid for.
Mm-hmm.
They can issue it for 6 months or the length of time of your medical.
Or your passport.
So
we highly recommend going to Mexico, doing the 14 days and coming in rather than waiting. If you have the visa in hand, don't count on them reissuing.
Cody is citing to court statutes from us from 13 years ago about K visas. Well, good news is Judge Boasberg doesn't like those cases, and they're legally wrongly decided.
Well, also that those cases are before a Supreme Court case called Kuck, which completely changed the level of review that courts give. Unless it's discretionary as a matter of statute, the courts give review to this. So I would not be surprised if this case has been overruled by Kuck.
Yeah, I don't worry about that. Tolga, Ankara. I mean, I understand Turkey's bad. I don't know. So again, until we get a judge to order them to actually issue the visas or assign you to the third country. For example, somebody in Moscow called Ukraine, or I forget, some other consulate. They said, yeah, well, we won't take you. We're open. We're issuing visas, but we won't take you. Well, that's because I'm sure they've been told don't take cases. Once they're told to take cases, that solves the problem. Oh, yeah, Dimitri, being fully vaccinated, I'll be honest with you, is irrelevant to the Secretary of State. This is why, we're going to know, like 2 more days, it's supposed to be the end of the K and L bans, right? And supposedly a review of the regional travel bans on the 31st. I'm still betting they're going to renew all of them. But this would give Biden an opportunity. You know what? We're not going to have bans. If you can get vaccinated and you're fully vaccinated and you test negative 3 days before you come, we'll let you in the country with a valid visa. If they did that, bam, solves everybody's problem. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Okay. Let's see. NIE news. We are not litigating NIEs. We're litigating the regional bans for which NIEs were invented. And if the regional bans are struck down, guess what? You don't need an NIE unless you want to get in less than 14 days.
It's also the NIEs are actually a harder issue to litigate.
You're not going to win that. Not going to win that. Okay. Let's see. Synthesia, you have to go. If you're in Anunciato, go to the email that you got last week to go to the page at visalaw.com on mass litigation and look for the thing that says DV 2020 delays. You go on there and follow the instructions. Okay. Also,
if you've made a payment, you get a receipt online for that.
Yeah.
And we get that as well. We are matching up every payment to every engagement letter, to every declaration. And if the payment went through, we don't have anybody who made a payment that we don't know that they're in the case. And if there's any kind of problem, we will alert you why we can't let you in the case. But if you made a payment, you should assume you're in.
Yeah. Tashkent, I mean, the reality is this: suing individual consulates, you've got to have a large number of people. And while technically I think you could put consulates in the stands together, I think that's just really, really difficult.
Chuck, can you talk? I mean, maybe we should have a little discussion about individual or small groups. That's something I think a lot of people really kind of like get frustrated that they're from countries that they just aren't going to get enough plaintiffs for it. But you can have a very effective strategy of suing on an individual basis and get the same results as a mass case. And all of our firms do it. And people all over the world are filing that way as well, litigation. So, what would be, I mean, there are some pluses and some minuses. Obviously, the minus is that you don't get the advantage of being able to spread the cost, and it's going to be more expensive. But, it's still probably the cost of a couple of round-trip plane tickets is the cost of suing on an individual basis. So it's not out of reach for a lot of people. And, sometimes these smaller cases can settle much more easily than the big ones can. So there are some benefits, but maybe it's we should maybe do one of these just talking solely about that issue, or at least spend 20 or 30 minutes on it, because a lot of people, I think it's out of reach for them to be able to sue on their own.
I don't think it is, and we can talk about that next week. How's that sound? All right. Yeah. If somebody wants to know, Amy, it's the K1 litigation. How do I know you have everything? Because we haven't contacted you after you got receipt of payment. If we need something, we will email you. That's how it works. Okay. Let's see. Martin, don't worry about sending the message 3 times. I'm not going to kick you out. You're fine. Very good. Let's see. Oh, Keith Ferrani, who actually is a good friend of mine. All right, Jeff, you're on the AILA executive committee, one of the leading lawyers in America at the American Immigration Lawyers Association. So you must have the inside scoop.
I know, Jeff.
On the legalization program.
11 million. I mean, my answer is the same as it's been since 2006, which is don't place any wagers in Vegas.
TPS for 11 million.
Right.
Now,
I think it's a good chance we could have a DREAM Act passed and, agricultural legislation, but I don't.
The Promise Act. Yeah, the Promise Act is but here's the deal. You need 10 Republicans in the Senate to vote for this bill. And our dear friend, Eleanor Pelton, made this comment. One of our listservs says, yeah, you might have an easier time finding 10 honest men in Sodom and Gomorrah than finding 10 Republicans. Now, if you had a secret ballot, oh man, I think this passes in flying colors. But I don't think that they don't vote on secret ballots. Okay. All right. We have do we have an update coming in that's due to the judge in Milligan, Jeff?
We do. It's our status report is due April 8th to Milligan. So we started
like this.
Yeah, we started on that today. And it's really just kind of updating the judge on which cases have been approved, which haven't been approved, and where we are. So
yeah, and saying Manila, Brazil.
I don't know if you saw, but we did submit a motion to voluntarily dismiss plaintiffs last week. And I can't remember the exact number, but it was, I believe, 243 couples from the suit. So have gotten their visas and have been approved. So
somebody got their interview in Guangzhou for basically next week almost, right? Let's see. Has the case that you will bring, sir, been canceled? Hamza, I don't understand what case you're talking about. I'm sorry. Maybe you can clarify a little bit below. Milligan round 2, saying you were not filing a motion to amend and are just waiting for nothing to pass 3 weeks. Oh, this is somebody who is complaining about how fast you're filing it, Jeff. I would urge you to go back and listen exactly what Jeff said, and we filed shortly. These are complicated. If you want us to file junk, please let us know. If you want us to file stuff that will win, then you need to have a little patience. All right.
Well, also we have a lot of paid plaintiffs that have hired us to do their cases, and frankly, they have to take priority right now. It's just the way it is.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, last one here. Well, we'll actually go back up one. What's the approximate date for filing a DV 2021? Well, we're accepting claimants through next Friday, right, Greg?
Yeah. And by the way, the fee goes up at midnight tonight. So you are thinking about filing in the DV 2021, and you haven't done so, you should, and you'll save yourself some money. But yeah, the goal is usually to file about a week to 2 weeks after the matter closes. So it'll be in the next couple of weeks.
Right. Samira, if we win the Brazil K1 litigation of mandamus, they will have to prioritize your cases. That's how it works. Many of you have been waiting a long time. So and that's something we're really reaching for here. Okay. Will the Brazil embassy prioritize K1 interviews? That's why we're finding the win. All right. So last one here is Learn Chinese with M&L. Again, have their August. It must be the day they're interviewing folks. That's it on the questions that are kind of duplicate questions. We'll be back next week. Greg, do you have a Periscope or other live?
I always do Tuesday nights on Facebook. I always do at 7 p.m. Central. So you're all welcome to. Tuesday
night?
Yeah.
All right. I do mine on Wednesday.
Although I try and not talk so much about the litigation on Tuesday nights, because that's what we do on Mondays, so that other people have non-litigation stuff get a chance to get questions answered.
And I do the same thing on Mondays, Wednesdays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That'll be. And Greg, is that on your Twitter or on your Facebook?
Facebook.
All right, I'll do mine.
I'll put something on Twitter about it. But
Jeff, are you doing
always the same time?
We're starting our regular one next week, and I think it's on Thursdays at 12 o'clock Mountain Time.
If you can't get enough of these dynamic, I assume Jennifer's going to be doing these for you, right, Jeff?
Well, it'll be mostly me, but other attorneys will rotate in.
What is it on Facebook or?
It'll be on Facebook. Yeah.
We actually do them almost every day. Different lawyer in our office, so you get a chance to ask about the question. Somebody said, "You just skipped me. What the hell?" DV 2020. You skipped me 5 times.
We talked about Montreal earlier.
I answered it already. I answered it. This thing started 40 minutes ago. We answered a lot of stuff up front like we always do, including on DV 2020.
And Montreal.
And Montreal. So go back and take a look at that. We've already talked about it. Let's see. We'll just say we'll end here with Cathal Melanie Shields. No problemo. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.